Hi. Hi. Welcome to another episode of Unmasking the Narcissist. Before I get started, please don't mind the fact that I had to do a little bit of sweeping, because I know I'm a whiz with the broom, right? I'm a natural. Excuse me, I'm a little bit hungry. Just grab some Doritos this lovely morning. What is that? Sweet chili heat? I'm feeling it. Damn, Sam I am. Those taste pretty good. Excuse me. I must have missed my last supper. Okay, I think I'm ready now. What's going on, Charlie Brown? I got a new nightgown, so if you're feeling lucky, maybe I'll turn that smile upside down into a frown. Why you hating, bro? You should be appreciating. I'm not clocking you, Pookie, alright? I'm not clocking you, Pookie. What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to episode 5 of Unmasking the Narcissist. Now, it takes a carefully orchestrated dose of bullshit, lies, and deceptions for a narcissist to convince you or others that they have these character traits that we are raised to respect and value by nature. We respect these things, such as empathy, honor, integrity, compassion, even love. But all that comes hand in hand with respect, which is an admirable trait. But isn't love really the most basic character trait that we can possess as human beings? And it's not something that needs to be too hard to find if you're not a true narcissist. There's no crime in wishing everybody well and wanting to get along with everybody, but sometimes we cannot help but dislike certain people. Not everybody likes me, and that's fine, but I really don't have anything to hide. And hey, I just want to run something by you guys real quick. If being alive and living your life is a crime, come bring me some paperwork saying that I've committed a crime for being alive, living my life, and being happy to the best of my abilities. And if you can put that into paperwork and make up a law that says it's illegal to be alive, enjoying your life, and working on yourself to get involved with business or other things like that. If it's illegal, just come bring me some paperwork saying it's very illegal for you to be alive because I wish you were gone. And I want to take you to court so that you can fight your case of you having the legal right to exist and be alive in 2025. Now, I've never broken any laws or anything of this nature, but I'm just providing an example of how a narcissist thinks, because a narcissist feels like they are above the law and there could be no accountability if they fuck up and commit a crime. But whenever I've made a mistake, I had to own up to it, and I have a clean criminal record. I've never been convicted of a crime. I'm not a criminal. I abide by all the laws. I encourage people to do it sometime, but my ancestors fought for this great country, for what you can call it, so that I could live a free and independent life. But my ancestors who laid the foundation for this country are kind of being dishonored a little bit if people were fucking with me and they were being protected for fucking with me. Now, this is for entertainment purposes only, but we're using psychology and drama as a form of shock theater, so I cannot diagnose you if you have a mental illness, and I cannot control the way people react to this. Unmasking the Narcissist is just an entertainment series to get people thinking about things, but not everybody likes me, and that's fine. I really don't have anything to hide. But today we're going to decipher the carefully orchestrated dose of bullshit which goes into the mask of a narcissist who built up a series of lies, deceptions, false promises, fake love, and pretend heroic wisdom that can guide all the right people at the wrong time straight into a downward spiral of that narcissistic energy vampire, that toxic pride. It's like an ongoing loop of toxic pride where they're a little bit too much in their heads, and if they don't get out of it, they will push themselves to the point of insanity. I don't wish it on anybody, but it rewards no one aside from the narcissist. It's not making the world a better place and causes nothing but slime, in my opinion. So everything the narcissist touches turns to slime by natural design, including the people who they listen to. But allow me to unmask the narcissist for you in today's episode, so that rather than spend 2 hours listening to a narcissist spew a whole lot of nothing, I can provide you with the honest truth about the narcissist, because the only type of people I've ever met in my life were narcissists, and I have their coding down to a science. So those little cracks in the mask, nothing would make me happier than to provide you with the truth. Let's take off the mask. So there's these little cracks in the mask that you may never see, or maybe you already know. And hey, if you want to rock with the flock, that's your prerogative. But allow me to lower the mask for people who value honesty, authenticity, and truth above fake validation, pretend merit, and dishonorable roles of honor masked in the form of nothingness. It's a complete waste of time. What a waste of a life. So the life of a narcissistic pretender is built upon lying to the masses. Let me break it down for you like this. The narcissist is a control freak, because a narcissist feels the need to control everything, everyone. They want to control people, they want to control all outcomes. But it actually reveals a form of weakness to you. So the narcissist may not care who they hurt or who goes down for their very toxic pride. It's in a loophole and it just takes everybody down with them. Oftentimes they love it and they hope they can take anybody down, whoever chooses to go along with them. But what if I told you that the narcissist is so narcissistic, so reckless, and so crazy that the undiagnosed madman who very much needs medicine is taking you on a downward spiral to their own madness, and they'll use any excuse to stay attached to your energy and life, including providing injustices for you, because they feel like if they can control you or make you choose how to live your own life, that they own you somehow. But in severe cases, it affects the narcissist's work performance. It can control your life, but imagine somebody being so narcissistic with such a high degree of toxic pride that they spend more time attempting to hold you back than focusing on their own career, people who count on them within their social circle, and companies or partnerships. Because when the narcissist places holding you back and attempting to hurt you along with their toxic pride shines too bright, and it's not just going to affect them, it'll affect the people who agree to partnerships with them. And it's like, where is the money, time, energy, creativity, and work ethic going? Is it going to a money pit? Maybe that's what the narcissist wants, to hopefully destroy everything and take as many people down with them as they can. But you're in control of your own life, and like I said, if there's a law against me living my life, enjoying my life for what it's worth, and not breaking any laws, abiding by the laws and not hurting anybody or wishing anybody bad, come bring me some paperwork saying that it's illegal for me to be alive, and I'll see you in a court of law, and we can go to court, and I'll get an attorney and we can fight that if it's illegal for me to exist. But so they can't even control themselves, and it's like their toxic ego takes down everybody with them, and they're attempting to hurt you because their pride shines too toxic. Their ego just takes down everybody who chooses to touch it. But it's like the more damage they do to themselves, then they have to, even if they hold you back in your career, partnerships, or relationships. The control freak cannot even control themselves. Pardon me, I'm hungry. I bet those chips are a lot of money, huh? How much? $5? I bet that's a lot of money. Oh, hi, Betsy! Hi, Betsy! So like I said, the control freak cannot control themselves. Maybe they fooled some people into following their lead in the process of self-destruction, but when you don't volunteer yourself to go down with them, They look for reasons to explain why or how, but the answer is very simple. I already told you guys the answer. A control freak cannot explain why or how. The answer is that it's them. They have a problem. It's not you, it's them. But if you cannot control yourself and you are trying to control me, for example, whether you play a successful role in my life or not, it's highly unlikely you will be able to control everybody, including me, especially when it pertains to business and creativity, because you cannot control yourself and you're a narcissist built with that self-destruction button. However, I know toxic pride doesn't want to give up on self-destruction, and toxic pride requires self-destruction. So the toxic person will just naturally take themselves down for you. Since, it doesn't want to give up on trying to defeat itself, and it will defeat itself, because you're not doing anything wrong, it's them. Something I learned a long time ago was that the ego can play a role in feeling like you can have control over people. And I'm not going to call myself a recovered narcissist, because I still always try to get along with everybody, wish everybody well, and not get in anybody's way if they're pursuing something similar to me, even if I can't work with them or we have differences. But I did have a massive ego back in the day when I was younger, in my early 20s, because I devoted a ridiculous amount of time to playing the drums, and I was really good at that time, maybe one of the best in comparison to some other people in my community who do similar things. But even calling myself the best, I would consider to be something very egotistical. I can only go by what I've heard, the people I've met, the local shows I've gone to. And hey, even at that, I still cannot say I was the absolute best. I saw a couple guys who were better than me on drums, even when I was ridiculously devoted to playing drums. And I'd never tell you who they were or what the projects were, but let's just say people who don't quit projects, whether it sees global success or not, are a lot better off than those who just jump from one project to another project while never having anything to stick long term. Anyways, that's just ego if you tell yourself you're better than other people. And I definitely humbled myself at one point in my life. I always invite people to make a choice with me. If you listen to my drumming or anything else, and you know that you're better than me, whether I believe it or not, or whether you believe it or not, people who are devoted to the process don't really have time to claim how much better they are than everybody. But if you view them that way from a competitive standpoint, the problem is when you start using others to compare yourself to them, you're never going to win, because you're viewing somebody else as better than you by design, and that's why you feel like you have to compete with them, but it's hurting you. You're missing out on your win, which is already right in front of you. And when you start using competition to tell yourself and anybody who's willing to listen that you are actually better, either everybody's going to believe you with that, either you really believe it inside your mind, or you're not only lying to yourself, you're lying to anybody who chooses to listen to your stuff, as well as anybody who validates those lies. And that's what makes narcissistic people tick. They feed off of the half-assed, one-sided energy, the people who just go along with them. But remember, the narcissist can do no wrong and never correct themselves, because that toxic pride inside of them, it validates this vicious cycle, turns everything they touch to slime, including the people who follow them in many cases. So we mentioned a narcissist is often a control freak who cannot even control themselves. So they have a hard time controlling you if they can't control themselves, right? Depending on who you are, what you are doing, and what the narcissist does that can benefit you, but they still cannot even control themselves, no matter what favor, promise, or validation they can give at that specific time in your life. So it's more of a one-sided kind of thing, and the narcissist really requires that of you. The narcissist will also make up different excuses to justify and validate their bad behavior, rather than just face the fact that it's time to give up on the mistakes you make, which no longer serve you or the people who follow you. Just move on to something else, a new hobby or whatever the case. But they don't do that. It's their toxic pride. And hey, I'm not a licensed therapist. I don't receive a salary to balance out the narcissist's emotional thought process. But if their level of ignorance starts to interfere with my personal life, such as business, relationships, partnerships, and opportunities, then yeah, okay, maybe we're going to have to make lowering the mask an Olympic sport, which I feel like I've definitely done here, but let's get a little bit more into the mind of a certified psychopath. Remember, the psychopath lacks emotions, so the psychopath doesn't feel things such as remorse, guilt, compassion, love, regret, and respect because they are a narcissist. They're psychotic. They need medicine and they need therapy, but I don't receive a salary to give them therapy, and I don't receive a salary to diagnose them. But for everything the narcissist lacks in terms of the emotions you would naturally expect from an average person, they make up in terms to help you remind them or yourself how disgusting they are. So it's like all the slime bucket emotions you'd rather just not even entertain, such as hatred, jealousy, envy, and anger, exist within the narcissist. And that's why they can't admit that they are wrong, and that's why their toxic pride comes with a self-destruction button. It's a control freak, the unmasking of a certified madman. So let me wave my wand, I'll point you to the nearest therapy office. The narcissist is certainly going to need it. But I will say this, if the narcissist practices sadism, they will attempt to mine negative emotions from you in order to feed off of those emotions, such as fear, disappointment, or sadness. Excuse me. Those chips are certainly a lot of money. Oh, hi, Hector! Oh, hi, Hector! What was I saying? But as soon as the narcissistic control freak realizes that you possess human emotions, the lizard alienoid knows they lack this because I'm a human and you're a human if you're an average person. The lizard alienoid is something else. But once you can shut off your emotions and feel absolutely nothing towards the narcissist, you view them as nothing more than a disposable piece of lint, right? So they mine for these emotions as a control freak, a sadist, and often menace to society. And they don't get what they want from you. When the narcissist, sadist, control freak, or all of the above do not get what they want from you, they will start to really glitch out. And watch them spaz. Try not to laugh too hard at this because they will start to really glitch and bitch when they figure out they've done so much to hurt you, yet you don't give a fuck about them. Then study the words, pay attention to their body language, their mouth movements. They might twitch a little bit like this. Their mouth might go like a little bit of that because they're losing their mind and they need help, they need medicine and therapy. All things I don't receive salaries for to diagnose people or give them therapy. But anyways, so they twitch, they bitch, they're not mentally well, they need therapy, and you can say to them, hey, get well soon, whether you sincerely mean it or not. But just try not to laugh. It's probably not your problem if you have a narcissist in your energy. You can just ghost them, cut them out of your life. If they write down on some cards something like, I know where you live, okay, come fucking get me or go to jail. And the last step to showing the exposed, unmasked narcissist that they have no control over you or your life is when they are clinging on to that false sense of control, false sense of entitlement for their dear life, but it's already too late because you feel nothing for them. And it's at that very moment, it's the closest thing you'll ever feel to being just like them. But you'll never become them or be like them because you're not a narcissist. But you just needed to turn your emotions off to feeling anything at all from the narcissist, and they become lints, something to be removed. So when they gloat about not feeling guilty or regretting ever hurting you, you can remind them, hey lint, I never gave a fuck if you felt guilt or remorse for what you've done to me in this specific stage of the game, because I don't feel a motherfucking thing for you. You're lint. I just removed it, and don't you forget that. I don't require closure by hoping you would feel remorse. And if you can get me to hate on you a lot, which is highly unlikely, you may have put in the work, but it's unlikely I'm thinking of you as much as you're thinking of me, right? So the therapy office tripled 300%, and I'm glad to be of service for people who need therapy. Science needed more customers, right? So I just donated your narcissistic title holders to science, whoever they are. And I did it for an Olympic sport by lowering their mask and stepping on it. I hope you all enjoyed episode 5 of Unmasking the Narcissist. Until next time, I encourage my fellow human beings to brush off that lint from your shirt. Remember, any potential reptilian alienoid type manifestations that latched onto your clothing can just be brushed off like a piece of lint. Don't even worry about it. Everything comes out in the wash, and we know the difference between humans and reptilians. I'm a human, the narcissist is a reptilian. Get well soon, you're welcome, and I'll see you on the next episode. Those are some good shifts. Hi, Hector! That's a lot of money, right? Hi, Hector! Okay. Bye. Bye-bye, everybody. See ya.